Hitting that
live at each
live.
other.
Give me
Yeah.
just 1 second. Let me make sure everything pops up over here. How you guys doing today? Good
What is
morning,
up?
good afternoon and
What's
good
up?
night to everybody around the world. I am your co-host, Mr. Kennedy, and I am joined by the illustrious, smart, and laid back Kelsey
Oh,
Fearless.
oh, please. Oh, please. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Ken. What is up? How was your Sunday? How's everyone's Sunday?
I'm
Beautiful
chilling.
Sunday.
I'm chilling. Happy Easter to everybody who celebrates that. I hope you are getting your them nasty sugary peeps that everybody eats on Easter for some reason. You know
Oh, man.
them marshmallow ducks.
Oh, the peeps.
Ugh,
The peeps. I don't
stuff.
really like peeps. I love those big Cadbury cream eggs, those. The Cadbury cream eggs are so good. I love those. I
I'm
love those. I
I'm
love
not
those.
much I'm not much of a fan of marshmallows anyways. It tastes like sugary pillows.
Sugary
Impressive.
pillow.
Hey, it looks like I got a new follow here. I can't really see it because you're behind Kelsey's camera here. But thank you for the follow.
Right.
We do apologize in advance. We're not really going to be paying too much attention to chat because
No.
hey, Mr. Homer 420. I seen you before. You and Kelsey stream, right?
Oh, Homer. Great dude.
Hey, thank you
Great
for the
dude.
follow, brother. I hope everything is going good for you. Anyways, this is the first episode of Hot Takes, which was
Oh, yeah. Hot takes.
named by
Hot
Kelsey
takes are coming
Fearless.
in.
Yes, we're going to be talking about the latest video game news and some hot takes on video games because I know Kelsey has a bone to pick with me when it comes to my Resident Evil tier list
Yeah.
and
I do have a. Yeah.
where I placed a specific game that she really likes on the list.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
get going. Let's get
Yeah.
going. First off, let me read off this stuff. Actually, you know what? We'll get to that in a little bit. I just want to give a little bit of an introduction for both of us. For new people that come in. How long you been streaming?
Me? Oh Lord, I've been streaming like a year and a half now, almost. Streaming almost a year and a half. How are you? How long have you been streaming for, Ken?
Off and on the past. I mean, technically the past 7 years. Most of the time I was doing YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say you do a lot of YouTube stuff. You used to do a lot of YouTube, didn't you?
Yeah. The funny thing is this isn't my first podcast. Like I actually have 31 episodes of probably the worst podcast that was ever produced in the history of podcasts.
But 31 episodes though.
Yeah, but
That's dedication.
but it was horrible, man. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It's like,
Oh, now you're back. Now you're back.
yeah, I had
Yeah.
I was using like the not the Elgato what was it the Blue Yeti microphone, which is a terrible microphone in my opinion. I had Windows Movie Maker, which was like that free software, and then I had like
Movie
Audacity,
maker. Oh my god.
and I was
Oh
like,
man.
I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, oh my god, this is awful, but yeah, here I am again. Yeah, I'm a much better speaker than I was then, more structured.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you get started in streaming? Like, what made you say, "Hey, you know what? I think I want to do this for fun."
Well, like for me, I was just in like a really, really, really bad place in my life. Like I was like at my lowest, and I was just like, all right, I had wanted to stream for quite a while. And I was like, all right, well, like there's really nothing holding me back at this point. That was just my logic behind. I'm like, all right, well, let's just make this better. And it was really fun. It was really fun. It was really fun. I've had a lot of people that I've met, and it has just been great. It's just been great. There's so many amazing people on Twitch. Twitch is so friendly. Twitch is so friendly. I think of all social media, Twitch is like the friendliest.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see that more for myself because I was kind of streaming to kind of deal with the problems that I was dealing with at that point. Being out of work and all that, and I needed some place to channel it. So But I kind of quit for a while there because life gets in the way. And you let me make sure that there are no ads. We're gonna snooze that because I don't want no ads coming up. Um, for me, like when I started YouTube, like I mean, that was way back then. Like, oh my God. My first video, I think I was talking about the PS Vita, which was a long time ago.
The Vita.
Yeah, I was like, man, we need some new games, and I was back there with my cop mustache that I had, cause
The cop
yeah,
stash.
this is before
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and see that.
yeah, this is
You have to go
before
back to
I
see the
became
cop
the
stash.
friendly neighborhood beard bro that you see now. But yeah,
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of that. Like I did I did a lot of top tens, which a lot of people still like for some reason. Top 10 favorite this, least favorite that.
Well, yeah, you're very critical, very thorough. You
Oh
know.
yeah, I've
You
heard
know.
that Resident Evil tier
Yeah.
list. People got all over my case. Man, you don't know what you.
I've actually heard it though.
Yeah, it's like
You're
man.
like, oh, I've heard, but no, I've actually heard you be critical.
Yeah, I'm like
So
man, you don't know what you're talking about, man. This Resident Evil game is much better than this. I'm like, then make your own list.
make your own list.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it out.
But anyways, okay. So let's get into this and to these notes here I
Yeah.
got here. All right. The number one thing that I have here, which is quite interesting, is that you remember the game Control that I was playing. It looks like Remedy bought the rights to the Control series from 505 Games for $18.4 million.
Yeah.
Which,
And didn't they? They're taking it back, aren't they? They decided to take it back from them.
yeah, they did, which is quite funny though, because they only bought the Control series, not the Alan Wake series, and not
No.
the Max Payne series, which is all part of the same universe. But yeah, they bought it. So this includes Control and Control 2 and some kind of multiplayer game that they made, which I didn't even know exists. It's like a spinoff of the Control series. So I was like, hell yeah, that means we're definitely getting Control 2, and I cannot wait.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 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 I saw that Control 2, and what was the other one? Was it just like a project that was something else that was in development? There's a third one. What was the third one they were getting the rights to? They were
I
getting Control 2, and the third one.
I know it was it's like a multiplayer spinoff, like for multiplayer
Okay.
gamers to play. I didn't really look too much into that, but that's the only
Okay.
other that is considered part of the Control series.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I can't wait for that. I also can't wait for Tormented Souls 2. I'm hyped about that. Holy
Oh, I
crap.
know. When is that coming out?
They didn't put a date on it yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, they didn't put a date on that. They didn't put a date on Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which is supposed to be a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Silent Hill 2 still does not have a release date either. Like so many things are getting announced so early. And then now it's like, where are they?
Yeah,
Where are
we
they?
might not see that until next year.
No.
The way that these
No.
games are. I mean,
Absolutely not. No, we won't.
you look at Grand Theft Auto 6, they talking about a couple of years from now.
Oh yeah, I know. Oh, I know. And usually on PC too, it's like even a year later for Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Usually.
And Elder
Like a year
Scrolls
later
6.
or so. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, come on now. Anyways,
The
moving on.
video game industry is in like shambles.
Well, yeah, that is true. I mean,
It's in shambles right now. At
Did,
least like among the AAA companies.
didn't EA lay off like 1 million people or something like that?
Probably.
And I'm like, damn.
Probably. Like all these big companies don't have like they only have like one or two series that they're holding on to. Everything else they launch just fails.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when I used to work security there, they had they were working on the latest Dragon Age, which is getting ready to come out, but that doesn't have a date either. And I was like,
That doesn't
okay.
have a date either. None
So
of these have dates.
yeah,
You'll
because
be surprised when one has one.
well, they used to have they have the play testers come in and they would have people come in for free and you would get 4 free games from EA. and you would just sit there and test out their games. And I'm like, yo, that's pretty cool. And I had to sit in and watch that. But the EA building was fun because there was I think, yeah, there was 6 floors, and every floor was dedicated to one thing. Like the second floor was
Really?
dedicated
That's
to Apex. Everybody on that floor worked on Apex.
oh, that's cool.
And
That's cool.
then you had the third floor, which was for like the miscellaneous stuff, like if they were working on, obscure games. Of course, the top floor
Yeah.
is, as you guessed it, Madden.
Yeah, man.
And they have the motion capture room up there. That jump was so cool to watch that, like
Oh,
football players
motion
come in.
capture room.
Yeah, it was really cool. Anyways, though,
Motion capture room sounds
speaking
cool.
of EA, that's a good segue because they're getting ready to shut down their servers for 2 games that I actually play, and it sucks. NHL 20, they're getting ready to shut down the service, so no more online play, no more
Of
online
course they
play,
are.
and Madden 20, and this is all NHL 20 is September 16th, 2024. Madden 20 is going to be shut down April 15th, 2024. So EA is basically telling you, hey, bum, buy the new games.
Oh my god, they did that in December too. They did the same thing. They shut down a bunch of servers. I know that because they got rid of the Dead Space 2 multiplayer servers.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
which like I never got to play that with anyone, and I'm so mad because it was like a Left 4 Dead versus where you got to play as either necromorphs or like just people on the Ishimura, like humans. It's like humans versus necromorphs, and they shut down the servers. Never got anyone to play that game with. Like lost, it's lost now. Can never play it again, and they shut it down.
But that's crazy. I
Fun.
mean, considering the fact I didn't even know the Dead Space 2 servers were even still running that long.
Well, yeah, I that's the other thing. Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's
I mean,
that's
cause
completely true. Okay, that's like 10 years or so. That's completely true. All right, fair.
yeah,
That's fair.
you
That's fair.
talking about what is that? The Xbox 360 era, PS3 era.
Yeah,
So it's like the fact that they even still had them running to begin with.
yeah. All right, all right. That's fair.
Also,
That's fair. All right.
also if you're a gamer, which a lot of people are, that's why y'all come here. Make
I'm
sure
a
y'all
gamer.
catch up with the spring video game sales on Ubisoft, Steam, and Epic Games. Like they got a lot of good sales going on for a lot of great games. If you're a Prince of Persia fan, the new Prince of Persia dropped down to $29 from $49, which is kind of scary to me.
That's quite a deal.
Well, that game just came out, so the fact that they dropped it that
Oh,
far
that
down,
game just came out. Oh,
yeah, it
really?
literally
Oh,
just came out a couple of months ago.
no way. No way. And it's already at holy.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's not good.
that's not good. If you're a fan of the Assassin's Creed stuff, Assassin's Creed Mirage is down to $29.99 as well for the standard edition. Buy it. If you're a fan of the Division games, they're going on sale too. I know people who come here, they see the Division 2 playthrough that I play. Shout out to that. Of course, if you're Epic Games, Fortnite's free. So yeah, there you go. If you like the Evil Within series,
Fortnite's free.
it's free. So it's like what's the sale about, man? Nah, but in all seriousness, though,
Fortnite sale. Fortnite sale and it's free.
if you
Oh
are
shit, that's funny.
if you are a fan of the Dragon Quest games, the Dragon Quest Echoes of Elusive Age is down to $23.99. You got Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and
Kingdom Hearts.
2.5.
Oh
This
man.
currently selling that for $20, so you better pick that up.
Where? What platform?
This is on PC.
Really?
Yeah.
I could play Kingdom Hearts on the PC.
Yeah, this is what I'm seeing here because I'm on the Epic Games website over here. Suicide Squad.
You've just changed my life. My life has just gotten a brighter future. No way. I didn't know that. I didn't know Kingdom Hearts came to PC.
Well, yeah.
Whoa.
I
I didn't know Kingdom Hearts was on PC. I only ever played on PlayStation. But like if it's on PC, like this just changed my like the trajectory of my life is just like way higher now.
And I hear that.
I
You,
need to know.
you know what? I never played that game, to be honest. I know of it. I just never played
Oh,
it. Cause you,
as a child, it was so good.
and
Like
I'm not gonna name
it was
every
so
game in
good.
Steam, but we got some good ones here. I mean, if you like Cyberpunk, Cyberpunk is down 50%. It's down to 29.99. So you better pick
I
that up.
own Cyberpunk, never played it. I never played it. I own it, never played it.
You never, why'd you buy it then?
I don't know, it was really cheap and I just like never played it. I just never got around to it.
Got you. I mean, Grand Theft Auto been around so damn long. I'm not even surprised that it's this cheap. Grand Theft Auto 5 is $15.
Oh my god, Grand Theft Auto 5's almost go to high school at this point. Like
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5's almost old enough to go to high school at this point. Like,
Yep.
come
And,
on,
and
Rockstar.
and you got the Witcher Wild Hunt. That's a great game. That's down to $10 right now from $40. So you better pick that up before it goes back up. And that's pretty much all I'm gonna
Love a
name here.
good
I'm not
deal.
gonna go down this whole list because I don't have the patience.
I'm not gonna go down the whole list.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that the sales for all of this goes until April 4th, and then everything will jump back up. So make sure y'all get on it and buy some games, man. Get some
I
spring
love a good
cleaning
deal
going.
on a game. I
Yes,
love a good deal, but the backlog's crazy. I have so many games I need to play.
that's true.
Backlog.
I'm actually almost running through all the games that I have here before I have to start buying some new ones. I got Zombie Army Trilogy coming up probably after I finish the Division.
I've never heard of that game.
Oh,
What are those games?
the Zombie Army, like you like the Left 4 Dead stuff. Like
Yeah, I love Left 4 Dead.
imagine a mixture of Left 4 Dead and Return to Castle Wolfenstein, but as a four-player, you play on a four-player team.
Wait, it's a multiplayer game, like
It,
co-op?
you can play alone by yourself, but then you could play with teammates. Like World War Z, the game that I was playing,
Yeah,
it's like that.
yeah. Man, I love those. You love your zombie games, eh? You love your zombie games.
Yeah,
They're
you
so fun. I love zombie games.
you can tell,
I
can't you?
don't play enough of them.
You can
Yeah, I don't play enough of them, but I love zombie games.
you can tell,
Yeah,
can't you? I love zombie games, dark
yeah,
games. Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of fun. You got any notes over there that you want to share?
Me? No, I'm just flowing with what you have. I was flowing with what you have.
Gotcha. So
Yeah,
you wanted to
you're
talk.
in charge here.
So you wanted to talk about gaming difficulty, huh? Difficulty in
Yeah, all
games.
right. Yes. That is yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I did want to talk about difficulty in games. Um just because okay, when I talk about difficulty in games, I immediately like sprout like 50 gray hairs. I feel like I immediately sprout like 50 gray hairs when I talk about difficulties in games. Like it's not even combat wise to me that I talk about difficulty in games. I like it when a game makes me feel stupid sometimes.
That
Do
you
you know what
actually
I
have
mean?
you actually have to try because it's
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's no fun if you just cheese do stuff. And I have a controversial take on that, and a lot of people get upset when I say it, but you know I don't like to watch streamers who play stuff on easy. I don't like to watch videos on YouTube where people play stuff on very easy. I like challenge. Like that stuff will take me right out of it. I'm like, you really can't say you beat a game if you're playing it on cakewalk, hold my hand, give me ice cream and rainbows in the sky easy. I like challenge.
You don't feel it. You like challenge. No, I totally get that. I absolutely get that. That's why like when I try to do it, I like to look for like speedrun strats and cheese strats. Like I want to get a perfect run. That's the big thing for me. I always want to get a perfect run, so I love to find like cheese strats for things.
But I
But I'll just bail if it's not a perfect run. I'm just gonna bail on it. Like it needs to be a perfect run. I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna like limp through an area. You know, I can't let myself do that. I can't let myself do that. But for me, it's the puzzles that aren't difficult anymore. Like I miss in the PlayStation 2 era, like the golden era survival horror. Like the puzzles, like you would be walking around for like an hour being like, what? And it's like just one thing you didn't click on.
that's
Just
pretty
one thing you
much
didn't click on.
Silent Hill in a nutshell.
Resident Evil is like that too. Early Resident Evil was like that too.
I mean, at least with Resident Evil, they had notes that they gave you to kind of give you a clue of what you're doing. Silent Hill just
Kind
had
of.
Silent Hill would just have these puzzles, and I'm like, okay, how the hell, like with Silent Hill 3, how the hell would you know to take a nut, like one of those, that nut that you get and
Oh,
crack it open to
oh
get the moon
yeah.
pearl
Yeah, I know.
to put it
I
in the door?
know.
I'm like, who's gonna figure that
I
out?
know. I know, okay? I know. How would you know to use the coat hanger on the ladder? I know it's so doesn't hold your hand though.
Yeah, that's
Doesn't
true.
hold your hand, okay?
Yeah,
I like that.
this
I
girl
like
is
that.
this girl is the queen of Silent Hill 3, man. Like she is ran
It's a
through
fun game.
on Extreme 10 no man's land right there. And she makes it look easy.
Oh god. It's fun. It's just fun. It's just fun. It's such a good game. Like it's the meanest one. It is so mean. It is so mean, especially compared to Silent Hill 2. Like here's my hot take. Like Silent Hill 2 is like baby's first Silent Hill. Like you can fight me on that. It's like baby's first Silent Hill. I don't care what you're saying. Like there's like the the entire game is just a vehicle for the plot. It asks like nothing of you. The puzzles are a little bit weird, but the game asks nothing of you. It asks nothing of you. Silent Hill 1 is still mean. Silent Hill 4, like, that game is just like you can see where the budget ran out
You know, the funny
in
thing
that
is,
game.
you know what's funny? I have never played Silent Hill 2.
No, I played it a couple times.
My first game into the Silent Hill universe was Silent Hill 3.
The best. The
You know,
best.
when I got the PS2, that was one of the first games that I bought. And I just Silent Hill 4, they can have that. I'm sorry. That game sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
that
yeah.
game's pretty bad. I know that's probably gonna make some people mad, but just for me, I get bored with that game. I was like, man, this kind of sucks.
Yeah, I do too. Like it's fun until you have to go and do everything all over again, and now you have to do an escort mission as well.
Which makes it even worse.
That's like not cool.
Escort missions
Yeah.
are the worst next to water levels.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm. Um,
Sewer levels especially.
Homecoming wasn't too bad. Like I remember, I never played that one, but I did watch a playthrough with uh G Star Mr. G Star 321. Like he was playing through that. It's pretty much like the Mortal Kombat guy on YouTube. Yo, Vulcan Gohan, I see you. Spades, I see y'all. I'm sorry I haven't looked at chat because I'm
What's
concentrating
up, folks?
on the stream. But
And
yeah,
what's up to everyone on my chat as well? What is up, folks? Quick
yes,
shout out to the people.
you. Yeah, we got to give a little bit of love to the chat. Hey,
Yeah, what is up, chat?
how are y'all doing today? Welcome to the first episode of Hot Takes. As
The hottest take.
she was the
What's
one
up, Wolver?
that came up with that name. I was like, that's it. That's perfect.
Hot takes.
Okay, so let's get on to the Resident Evil tier list. I want to hear what your opinions are on that. Let me see if I can pop it up so we can hear what I'm saying. So let me go real quick. And
Yeah.
that's the good thing about having three screens, folks.
Can you put this into the stream together? Can you put this into the Twitch chat so I can open this as well? Can you yeah?
Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can do that. I mean, I know I could pop it up in OBS and I can have my, since I have an audio mixer, I can
Oh
have.
wait, you can share your screen in stream together.
Oh
You can
yeah,
share your screen.
yeah.
You can share your screen.
Sorry, folks, we're still learning this thing. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, we're new.
Yeah,
We're new.
we're pretty much new
We're
on
new.
this.
We're brand new.
Let me see.
It's okay.
How do I do that? Oh, let me see. Source settings, screen share. Huh. I don't even know how to do that, to be honest. I don't know
I
how.
see it in the website part. It's
Yeah,
alright, I'll just open up your stream.
yeah, I'm on here, but I don't know how to do that. Yeah, we're still figuring out the bugs here. Sorry about that, folks.
It's fine, we're good. I'm just gonna open you up on my
Here we go. Sure.
Twitch. Oh wait, he shared it.
Can y'all see it?
I can see it.
All right, so we're gonna go on to, hold on just a second. Yeah, that's because I didn't hit the button yet. So let me pop this up first. Let me go to the video. Let me go to the video first. What the hell am I doing here? Pay attention, Ken. Videos. Videos. Yeah, we got so many. It's kind of back here.
Where?
You got to forgive an old man.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just open
This is
it up.
WWE The Big Show. Kelsey.
I've got
All the
your...
Resident Evil games that you see. Dragon. And hopefully you... Okay. Let me see if this will work. Now, how do I... Okay. So, stop sharing here. Share screen. There we go. Bam. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Can you see it now?
Wait. Oop. Sorry, how much? Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Okay.
Sorry, I just opened up your stream. It's so much easier. So
Got
sorry
you.
to do that out of nowhere.
Well, I'm not going to do full screen because if I do full screen, I can't see anything. So, here we go. You guys will have fun watching me do this. This is a tier list of the Resident Evil games. So this will give me a chance to tell you guys my honest opinion about all the Resident Evil games that you see here in front of you, because I played all of them, and I'm going to be completely fair. When I do all these, I don't want you to think I'm just bagging on things to bag on it. So here we go. Now this list does include all of the classic Resident Evil games, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the remakes, of course. So here we go. Let's have some fun. Resident Evil 0. We're going to start off chronologically. Resident Evil 0. I remember playing this game back in the GameCube. It was a nice looking game. It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't the best Resident Evil game, but it's not the worst. So I'm going to put it at the C tier. It was fun for what it was. I played it, I beat it, and I never had the nostalgia to go back and play this game. So what do you think about that one? Is that fair?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure it out on my side. I wish it would work a little bit better. Just say, okay, what? I'm sorry. I have fucked around a whole bunch. Never mind. What was it? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's
trying
all
to
good.
change it on my side. It doesn't matter. What game and what tier? I will listen from now on.
Well, I started with Resident Evil 0 and I put that in the C tier because I just felt
Put
that
it in a C tier.
Yeah, I felt that that
Valid.
game. Vulcan Gohan, can you hear and see that what I was just playing, or am I the only one that could hear it? If you're
I
still
could
here,
hear it. I could hear it. I think you're good.
he only heard, but he didn't see it. Okay, well, we'll just go off of it. Yeah, I put Resident Evil Zero in the C tier because it's not a game that I find myself wanting to go back and play very often. It was not a game that I hate, but it's not a game that I like that much either. What do you think?
All right, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Like, it, it wasn't like significant to the plot in any way. Like, it did not really need a prequel. First of all, like, one did not need a prequel, and everything that happened in Zero, like, it like it was not acknowledged at all. Like in one, like there were so many plot holes it left. Uh, like it was fun. Like it was fun. I really liked the design because it was using the same engine as one. But it just it asked for so much for how shitty the system was in it. Like no item boxes was annoying. No item boxes was so annoying. And then having an AI partner, like by the end of it, I just left them. Like I always left my partner in the safe room. I just went out myself. But yeah, C is good. C is good.
Gotcha. And it's
C
like
is good.
I like to add on that because I don't I like Rebecca, but I don't think that she's that interesting enough of a character to carry a game by herself.
She doesn't though. Billy carries her in that.
Yeah, like
Billy carries her.
I think Resident Evil Zero could have been like a DLC type of thing for Resident Evil One to kind of show us
Yeah.
what happened before they got to the mansion.
Oh,
That's
you
where they
want
should have
my
had it.
hot take? You want my hot take, Ken, about DLC? I
What's up?
think Resident Evil 3 should have been a DLC.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, considering like the build up to Resident Evil 3, I believe that that's probably what it was going to be. I think it was going to be a either a spin-off or something like that. I like Resident Evil 3. I just don't like the remake, but I like the original Resident Evil 3. But we'll get
Oh,
to
it
that.
was fun.
We'll
We'll
get to
get to
that.
that. Yes, we will.
All right, so moving on. Well, it is what it is. It's not a bad game, but not that good. It was cool to see Billy and see Rebecca in a prequel before the first Resident Evil game. So I think C is fair. Resident Evil 1. I remember playing this game in 1996. This was the very first Resident Evil game that I ever played. I love this game. Yeah, the voice acting is bad, but it's so bad it's good. I can't hate on it. Gotta drop it in A tier. This game was a lot of fun. It was something that wasn't done before. I love the tank controls. A lot of people hate that. I can't go against it. That's my childhood. Resident Evil 1 Remake. I love this game to death. This is S plus. They took the
S
original
plus.
Resident Evil and they
Yeah.
rebuilt it from the ground up in a new engine, and they added to the story, they added to the lore,
Perfect.
and it's one of the most beautiful games to this day that I've ever seen. I know a lot of people out there, they want a remake of the remake. That's a discussion for another day. I don't think we need it because this game still holds up to this day. But I love this game. I still play it to this day. What do you think?
Classic. Oh, like absolutely. Absolutely. The remake is perfect. That is like a perfect remake. And yeah, oh, the the voice acting's my favorite. My voice acting's my favorite. Like there's so many I love. Like Richard's ouch in that game. Like
Ouch.
there ouch. Like there's so many times in a day where something will happen and that will just play in my head. Ouch. And then like Wesker when Chris laughs at him. Like he's like, Chris, stop it. And you know what? That moment where Wesker did like a whiny little kid, Wesker's like, Chris, stop it. And that began that okay, that moment was the beginning of Chris becoming all jacked up and like roided out.
Yeah,
That moment, that
punching
moment,
boulders.
that was the beginning. That was it. That was the first domino that was, knocked over that led us to get Resident Evil 5, Chris.
Yes,
That's it,
folks.
Chris.
And
Stop it.
remember that's part of a great regiment right there. You get up, you do a couple of jogs, you go lift some weights and go punch some boulders. And you'll be
Go
strong just
punch
like
some
Chris.
boulders,
What about the
Chris.
let me ask you a question. Do you think that Resident Evil 1, the remake, needs another remake?
No.
Yeah, I feel the same
No.
way too. Because I see that a lot on Twitter or X, which is probably the most X-rated name ever in existence. I have to
Right?
I have to
That
always
always seems sketchy seeing that.
yeah, I always have to explain
Like,
myself when I bring it up. It's like X, what kind of site you trying to take me to?
I know, and I just like someone will see a link for it, and I'll just see an X, and I'll be like, "Oh, right, that's Twitter." But like, yeah, the first thing for my brain too when I see that is I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, right, it's Twitter." I'm like,
Yeah.
"What?"
But the thing is, it's like I don't think that I see that a lot on Twitter. A lot of people talking about, oh, we need Resident Evil 1 in today's graphics. I'm like, why? I think that the Resident Evil 1 remake still looks great after all these years. And I'm like,
Oh yeah,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
no, no, and I feel like it if you want to experience Resident Evil 1 or Resident Evil 1 remake, like you have to play it in its intended form.
That's
Like
true.
you have to play it in its intended form.
As Vulcan
They did
Gohan,
add non-tank controls.
yeah, as Vulcan Gohan says, he said it does. He doesn't think it does. He said he honestly prefers he'd prefer the Resident Evil 2 remake or Resident Evil 3 remake with fixed camera angles like one. I don't think so, but we'll get to that. I mean, fair enough.
Or
But I've gotten used to the behind the shoulder stuff.
you have I like the tank controls,
You know. All right, so let's move.
but it's just like
Go
they
ahead. I'm
don't
sorry.
work in. No, I like the tank controls, but they just like don't really have a place
Not in
anymore.
today's gaming.
No.
I like the tank controls, but that's a bygone era. Like if you still want kind of like that, you could play Tormented Souls if you're still a fan of that.
Yeah, there's a few games, I'm sure.
Yeah, but
But it was just made because there were limitations, right? And it was perfected because there were limitations they had to work with. Like there's no limitations now, so using tank controls kind of limits what you can actually achieve. You
that,
know? Like it has to be done right.
that's true. But it's like I mean with Wolver Soul. I'm sorry, I keep messing up your name, bro. Um, he's saying I would argue as the new generations come along, remaking games like Resident Evil 1 kind of makes sense with the direction of Capcom. But to be honest, like you don't need a remake of a remake of a remake.
No, no, you
It
don't. You don't.
it doesn't make
No.
any sense. It's like, that game still looks great. They don't need to remake it and the new graphics. And I'm like, are they gonna keep repeating this stuff over and over again?
Right? Yeah. We
It's
don't.
like
We don't need to pull Nintendo.
to be honest, like I don't even think the first Dead Space needed a remake. To be honest, because the original Dead Space still looks great after considering it came out in 2008.
Well, I actually have just like I have the tiniest bit. The only like the best thing they did for the Dead Space remake is they just gave it the controls that they had in Dead Space 2. Like they just copied the controls scheme and all that from Dead Space 2. Um so Bad Ambassador was up. Um they just copied the control schemes over. It was already perfect. Like it was. It really was. Like Dead Space 2 perfected it. Dead Space 2 does not need a remake. I do not want Dead Space 2
Yeah,
to have a remake.
I think
Bad
that
Investor saying Hey, Ken.
Hey, how you guys doing over there on Kelsey stream? I'm sorry, like I'm glancing at. That's what I'm saying. That's what the thing having three screens is always great because I can glance over there
Oh yeah, I know,
and
I know.
see
I'm
what
just
the
saying
hell.
hi to people. Sorry.
They're like, oh, you're Sadiddy, man. Bad investor, what's going on, brother? Welcome into the stream. Welcome to the first episode of Hot Takes
Yeah,
with
we're having hot takes.
with the host of the show here, Kelsey Fearless, and I'm the co-host. This is her show, brother.
Emulated.
Anyways,
Resident
though,
Evil 4 remake when?
let's get on. Let's
Then
get on
port
with
it.
let's get on with
Alright.
the next one. And y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all been watching me for a while, and y'all already know what my favorite Resident Evil is, but we'll play it anyways. Resident Evil 2, my all-time favorite Resident Evil game. I fell in love with this game when it came out in 1998. I love Leon and Claire. I love Birkin because he kicks ass. Mr. X, awesome boss that just chases you through. I love this game. S plus tier. Again, they took the Resident Evil engine from the first one and they made it better. The graphics were better. The combat was a little better. And I love what they did bringing in Ada and Sherry. And of course, Marvin as well too. He's pretty cool. So yes, S plus tier. Same with the Resident Evil 2 remake. I love both of these games equally. Yes, there's some things that the classic 2 does that's better than the remake, and vice versa. They took the Resident Evil 2 game and they made it in the new engine, and it's one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. I love what they did with Marvin. They gave him a little bit more to do in this game. Sherry as well too, and Ada. And I love the designs. Birkin looks awesome. I love that they did more with Mr. X, putting him in both the A and B scenario. I love this game. Both Resident Evil 2s. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, no doubt. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like 2 is how you do a modern day remake. Like that was so good. That
Yeah.
was so good. It did lack some things. Like there's no real A B. Like none of that. Like it but whatever. But whatever. It was so good. It was so good. It
Yeah.
was so good.
They made up
It
for it.
did the burger. It did have the burger too. That burger in the intro looks so good.
Yeah, they made up for it, and that's the thing. Like that is how you make a remake. There's a lot of people that actually hate the Resident Evil 2 remake, and you're entitled to be wrong. And if I had tomatoes, I would throw it right at you guys, and boo while saying it. And boo while saying it.
Wait, Bad Investor threw out a hot take, and I agree with this. Bad Investor. AAA horror games aren't scarier than indie horror games. No, it's true. I believe this. This is such a good hot take.
He has a point these days. He does have a point because it's really how much could you possibly do? It's just like the horror movies these days. After you've already seen everything, like the new horror movies they come out with, like what's that new one with that little girl vampire that's going around eating everybody? They're trapped in this mansion. It's like a new movie that's getting ready to come out. After you've already seen everything, like with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Chucky and all that stuff, you kind of become desensitized to it. And I feel the same way about horror games these days. Like very many actually get me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think a huge thing that it really suffers from, like for me personally, is it's the same thing with movies. Like if you want a really good horror movie, you're gonna have to look for something that's like really indie because they can get away with so much more. Having like all the the investors, not you bad investors, but some of your biggest jump scares come from indies. That's what I'm saying, and that is what I love about horror. Like I feel about this for horror AAA is dead for horror games, aside from certain things like Resident Evil, obviously, because the indie scene for horror games is huge. The indie scene for horror games is huge. Like it is crazy how many are out there. You just have to know where to find them, but it is huge. And they're so good and they're so quality. And then the ones that come out now, like the AAA ones, they can't have the same kind of shit because, the publishers will be like, "Oh, no, you have to like take that out. That's not going to sell."
That's true. Yeah, they do have more control on what they want to put out. And Vulcan Gohan has a great point. He said Tormented Souls and Elisa are great examples of new fixed camera angles. Yes, they do. Like Tormented
Oh yeah, I
Souls.
want to play Elisa.
Tormented Souls is a great game. I streamed that game.
Impressive.
I streamed that a while back. I'm sorry, I can't see the Albert Wesker alert there. I gotta fix that later. Not really paying attention to it, but whoever's following, thank you for following. I don't know how to pronounce that. Camus or Camus. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but welcome into the stream. Thank you for joining. But yeah, let's move on here, cause we got a lengthy one here. You ready?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, 1999, the classic one. I had so much fun playing this game for PlayStation. I'm talking about through Jill's campaign with her, dealing with Carlos. I also had fun playing the Mercenaries mode in that game. Like I kept going back to play that over and over again. A tier. The story's not as good as 2 and 1, but I still love to play that game, which hurts me to have to say that I don't feel the same way about the Resident Evil 3 remake. Everything that I just mentioned to you there, I feel like Capcom was lazy with the Resident Evil 3 remake. It feels like half a game. The park is missing from the game. The clock tower is missing. The cemetery where Jill fights the giant worm, missing from the game. No Mercenaries mode. Like it just feels like very bare bones. It's a very short game. I don't like this game at all, so I'm gonna drop it in a D tier. I'm sorry. I know that's gonna piss off a lot of people, but I beat this game. I was disappointed with it. I have no intention of ever playing that game ever again. So I don't like it. D tier. That's how I feel. What do you think?
Yeah, like especially like for the remake especially. So a couple things about the remake from my point of view. First, the 3 remake was actually the first Resident Evil 3 I played. I played the OG after. The OG is really fun. Like Nemi is like the best stalker. That like Nemi was great. It was crazy. I once was being chased by dogs and Nemi, and a dog was lunging at me, about to hit me, and Nemi hit the dog with a rocket launcher and it exploded and I escaped and I was like, all right, you know what, this is a good game. As soon as that happened, I'm like, all right, you know what, this is a great game. This is a great game. Like this is a great stalker. It can explode these dogs. But I played 3 remake first and I was like, okay. Like it didn't make sense. And everyone in chat was saying, like, oh, like it's missing so many different things. It's missing so many different things. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. And when I went back and played it, I was like, oh, okay, I see. The other thing is I got Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake for $10. And I can see why people were pissed because that price was like a full real retail price game. And I think if it had been a DLC, I think I said this earlier in the stream that if it had been like a full, like not a full price game, like a DLC, it would have been better. Because isn't Separate Ways like pretty much as long as Resident Evil 3?
Separate Ways, depending on which one, not the original one, but Ada had 2 campaigns in the original Resident Evil 4. She had Assignment Ada, which was something for her. That's a separate mode, and then you had Separate Ways.
Oh.
So if you combine those, then it's probably the same length as the Resident Evil 3 remake. because I could beat that game in a little over an hour.
Okay. Wow.
But it's like,
That's
but the
quick.
thing is, with the original Resident Evil 3, like, I'll say this about the Resident Evil 3 remake: graphically, it's a gorgeous game, and it's very fluid.
It is.
But I like quality over quantity. Like, you got all of this stuff. What did we get? We got some online game that nobody even played. Nobody was ever on the servers, and I'm like, they gave us this instead of giving us the mercenaries mode. Like, the original Resident Evil 3 had so much replayability to it. You had so much stuff that you had to unlock. Jill had a lot of costumes. You had to go through mercenaries mode to get money to buy the extra weapons, like the Gatling gun and all of that stuff. So, and there's multiple endings. So you always had a reason to go back and play it, which is with the remake, none of that stuff is in there.
No.
And I'm like,
Yeah, a
okay.
lot was cut out.
I'm like, okay, I beat it. Now what?
Right? Yeah, no replayability is awful too.
Yeah.
So what is up hidden?
These games got to get better with that stuff. I hate when games have no new game plus. Like, I hate that crap. Like, I remember
I know.
when I played through Tomb Raider 2013, which is, that's for the next episode, when I go through what the hell these companies were thinking about when they gave these games these names. Tomb Raider 2013, when you beat the game, that's it. You load up back into the game and there's nothing else to do but to collect treasures. I'm like, all the enemies are dead. So I'm like, okay, so you just run around collecting treasures. Boo. I'm like, nah. I'm like, I just cut it off and then go back again.
Boo! I've never heard the boo before. This is my first time hearing the boo.
Yeah, I do that a lot in real life.
That's so funny. I've only seen you write that. Your boo.
Yeah.
You say Resident Evil 5. You've woken up from a sleep hearing Resident Evil 5 to get up and type boo in chat, and then you've gone back to sleep.
Yeah, we're definitely getting to that one. And
we'll get to 5.
I went on a long rant. All right, let's continue here. I think I got some ads going on. But I'll play it anyways. All right, here we go. Resident Evil 4. I remember playing this game on the GameCube back in 2004. Now, before I continue, I made a mistake right there. It was 2005 that game came out. I said 2004, so I made a mistake there before anybody jumps on my case.
That game revolutionized gaming.
Yes.
It gave us the third person over the shoulder.
Yes, and I know a lot of people call me a hypocrite, but we'll get to that after I finish playing here.
All right.
And this game changed the Resident Evil series. A lot of people will say for the worse. But I'll say this. It did just enough. It has just enough of a mixture of survival horror and action that I love playing this game. I really do. It's one of my favorites. It's actually my second favorite in the series. A tier. I love it. The only reason why it's not S+ tier is because of the original Ashley. That girl gets on my damn nerves. I can't stand her voice. All she does is get carried away, and y'all know what I mean. These escort missions, it's the bane of my existence.
Oh, yeah.
Resident Evil 4 remake. The same thing that I just said, but they took the game and they made it. I mean, it's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful games Capcom has ever made. I loved what they did with Ashley in this one. She's far more tolerable in this game than she was in the original. I love Ada's campaign that they did. I had a lot of fun playing through that. S+ tier. S+.
It was good.
Resident Evil. Okay. So what do you think about that?
Oh yeah, Resident Evil 4, like, even though it began to stray away from emulate, nostalgia says remake Krauser can eat an ass though. Anyways, remake Krauser can eat an ass. He's annoying to fight. Anyways, It was good. It was good. Like I totally agree because even though it started like no, Code Veronica and 3 were starting to lean toward action too. But anyways, it's a masterpiece of a game. It's a masterpiece of a game.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
it was great.
With Resident Evil, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to. What were you saying?
Stalda didn't like fighting Krauser in Pro. Wasn't that the same for you?
Yeah, Krauser kicked my ass on professional mode. That guy.
N-
Oh my god. You know what? It got to a point where I was like, you know what the hell with this? I bought a rocket launcher and blew his ass to hell. Like I was like,
Oh yeah, and yeah, we did. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 needed to happen. Yes, but yes, Hidden. Yeah, it did.
but
Absolutely did.
here's the thing with Resident Evil 4. Like I said, it's right in the middle. Like they didn't stray too far away. You know, it's you still got some dark atmospheric areas, and it's like when you get down to the part where you have to fight the regenerators, that junk had
Oh,
my
that part's
adrenaline rush.
wild.
You know, whereas
That part's wild.
with 5,
That
like
makes it for a
they went
remake. Okay.
too far to the right with 5. Like, but yeah, I'm getting into that. I'm getting ramped up on that. Oh, I'm about to go off on
5 is coming up.
I'm
Hot
about
takes.
I'm about to go off on 5.
Code Veronica.
Code Veronica first though, and this is where Kelsey is probably gonna rake me over the coals. But here we go
Well, we'll see.
with this Code Veronica. This game, I feel the same way about this game that I feel about Resident Evil 0. It's not a bad game, but it's not that good of a Resident Evil game either. Sorry, Kelsey. I mean, this is one of her favorite games, but I gotta apologize to her in advance. But it's gotta go on C tier. Not one of my favorite Resident Evil games. I don't find myself wanting to go back and play this game like I do the other ones. You know, and that's just how it is. Okay, let me hear it.
Well, like, okay. Code Veronica. I will give one negative point against replayability due to the fact that it's a very long game and there is a lot of backtracking. But Code Veronica was was Capcom like trying to be both serious and at the same time like still goofy to the point where it was to its maximum capacity. Like maximum capacity. Like that was the goofiest, like it was so goofy. It was, but unfortunately, I think it was trying to be goofy like 1 was in a way, but intentionally. The plot was so good. The plot was just like batshit. I loved it. Like it was batshit. Um, but like the thing is I feel like a lot of people overlook Code Veronica. But it was like I was saying earlier with in Resident Evil 1, where Chris laughs at Wesker and he's like, Wesker, or Wesker's like, Chris, stop it, right? When that happened, and that is what we're Cobra. See, that's important because Wesker is now coming back to kick Chris's ass. Okay. Oh wait, this is going in a direction you're not gonna like, Ken. But Wesker comes back and kicks Chris's ass because of that comment, laughing at him. All right, this is like a storyline, and we need Code Veronica for this. And then that leads us into 5, and we get the big souped up, roided out Chris. So unfortunately, we need it for 5, for 5 to happen. A lot needs to happen, actually. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Wesker. I have your
Thanks
chat
a
up
lot,
here,
Wesker.
and I have I'm just gonna call you Wolf. I'm sorry because I keep screwing up that name, man. So Wolf, he said
Wilbur?
Yeah, he said Resident Evil 4 is the start where the franchise nearly died. The reason after Resident Evil 6 they went back to more survival. Why I hate 8, just copy and paste in Resident Evil 4. Now, fun fact about Resident Evil 4, there was actually 3 different versions. If they had went with the original idea of Resident Evil 4, well, actually, the original idea of Resident Evil 4 actually went to become the first Devil May Cry game because they felt that it was too different.
Oh yeah.
So the second one, they had it where Leon was in he was dealing with paranormal activity with ghosts and stuff, and Leon was infected. He was supposed to die at the end of that. But then they decided to
Yeah, there were like 4 of them, right?
no, there was
4 of these, right?
there were 3.
3.
So
Okay.
so we ended up getting the one that we got because they didn't want to kill off Leon. And they felt that survival horror was getting kind of old at that point. Silly Capcom. But yeah, that's what they felt. So we ended up getting the one that we got now. And I have to be honest, you know, even though I like the dark atmospheric, it was the shot in the arm that the Resident Evil series needed, because what else could you possibly do after Code Veronica?
Yeah, it's true.
You know, how many times?
Yeah, and that's where it started. Up until they did 7, they kind of rebooted it, but
yeah, like how many times?
Whatever, we'll see what 9 has.
Like how many times can you keep telling the same story about Umbrella unleashing, you know, viruses into the world and creating, you know, flesh-eating zombies and stuff? I mean, they've Resident Evil 0, 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica.
And then 4 comes along and they're just like, Umbrella went bankrupt and just shut down. That's it. Don't worry about it. Like they even by 4, they didn't care about Umbrella anymore. They're like, it off screen, it went bankrupt. It's gone. All right, let's continue.
Yeah. And it's like, and one of my favorite parts of the original Resident Evil 4 was Salazar. I thought that guy was funny. Mr. Kennedy. Still alive, Mr. I see.
Kennedy.
That joke always used to crack me up.
So funny.
All right. Now my favorite part of the video. Oh, yes, Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5. I hate this game. I hate this game. You know, when I was talking about Resident Evil 4, by the way, F tier. This is one of the worst Resident Evil games that they ever made. What I said about Resident Evil 4, about them doing just enough to have a mixture of survival horror and action to make the game fun, Resident Evil 5 went too far to the right. It's all action. It's a run and gun. That's all it is. You never run out of ammo. I hate the buddy system where you have to rely on Sheva, your partner, to do everything. The AI is really bad. And I know what people are going to say, well, it's fun if you play with other people. I don't like this game at all. Like, there's nothing scary about this game. There's nothing that gives you that adrenaline rush. There's nothing that gives you that sense of dread like the original Resident Evil games did. I hate this game. Like, there's nothing nobody can say that's gonna make me change. The only thing that I do like about this game is the Mercenaries mode. That's it. Like, I thought that was fun because Mercenaries is exactly that. You just run and gun. For a Resident Evil game, and I've said it before, I will say it again, as a Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 5 fails in every single way possible. It's not scary. It's not dark and atmospheric. There's just nothing there's nothing that draws me to this game. I hate it. Resident Evil 6. What do you think?
Oh, of course. That's so funny. I started cracking up when you said, well, everyone says it's fun with a friend, and that's literally it. Everyone who is like, oh, Resident Evil 5 is awesome, they're like, but I played it with a friend. It was fun with a friend. And like, I don't want to play Resident Evil with a friend. If it's not like Outbreak, which, by the way, Capcom, like, either port Outbreak or remake it, but like, it's just, yeah, you've only ever played it solo. Yeah, I just like, it's more actiony, and it's kind of like Resident Evil 0. Like, having an AI partner really, really slows you down.
That's
like,
true.
Really slows you down.
But when it comes to Resident Evil 5, that's the only argument I ever hear from people. Well, it's fun if you play with a partner. It's really fun.
The turret section.
Yeah,
turret section.
Yeah, you gotta let me go off on this, man, because the video is just not enough. Look, for those people who talk about they like Resident Evil 5, you're wrong. That game is terrible. It's ass. It's garbage. It's doo-doo. It's that stuff that comes out of your butthole. It's shit. Number 2, it is a garbage game. It's as far as the Resident Evil game goes, it's bad. It's bad, man. And nobody is ever going to change my mind on that. The AI, like I remember when I first played that game, the AI is so stupid. Like, you know how many times when I'm playing solo and Sheva would run into the middle of a horde of not zombies, but the Manjis, I guess they call them, the infected humans. And she would just stand there and get her ass whooped. And I'm like, that's bad. I'm like, what is this? The game takes place during the daytime for so much of the game. I'm like, is this it feels like Gears of War with Resident Evil characters to me. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh, we added in some Resident Evil skins. That game sucks. And that's just what it is. Yeah, Wesker's probably the only cool thing in it. And I say that fully well knowing that Jill-licious is in the game. I love my Jill. But Resident Evil 5 should have been the Lost in Nightmares episode with Jill and Chris. That's what Resident Evil 5 should have been. If they had made Lost in Nightmares where they're in the dark mansion, Chris and Jill reuniting once again, then it wouldn't have been so bad. Rant over.
That's fair. That's fair. Rant over.
Yeah, Resident Evil 5 sucks. Deal with it. Anyways, moving on to Resident Evil 6. Here we go. Resident Evil 6 tries to be way too much in one game. It tries to be everything. It tries to have survival horror in the Leon campaign. It tries to have run and gun action in Chris's campaign. It tries to have, explosions and all that stuff, and like in Jake and Sherry's, and of course Ada's, which is, secret agent woman. It has an identity crisis. I don't really like this game at all, but it's not as bad as Resident Evil 5. So I'm going to put it in the D tier. Yes, and that's going to piss a lot of people off that I put Resident Evil 6 above 5. Because at least with Resident Evil 6, at least in Leon's campaign, there's zombies. And you're in an abandoned college where it actually feels like survival horror. Imagine that. A Resident Evil game that's dark and scary. And then they went right off the deep end with Chris's campaign, which is the worst in the game. And I hate to say that about the Giga Chad, but Chris's campaign is absolutely horrible in that game. It's all action. And then you get to Jake and Sherry's. While it's nice to see Sherry again and you see Jake Wesker, who's Wesker's son, it's all action.
But like that, once we're getting into the point in a series where it's like this child from a past game and the son of a villain, it's over, it's hell. Like when you're bringing in that in a game, like it's over. Like pack it up. Like you can't be bringing like the child of a villain and the child of a past thing. It's up sneaky.
That's true. And the other thing about Resident Evil 6 is, holy hell, there's a lot of grinding in that game. Like when it comes to when you want to get like, the perks for your character, stronger attack, stronger defense, or you want to put infinite ammo on one of your weapons, you got to grind through chapters to get enough points to be able to do that stuff. And it just gets very old, very fast.
No way.
Not to mention, yeah. Not to mention, there's so much DLC in that game. It's not even funny. I think they got 6. Like they got one mercenaries mode, which is, I'll admit, that's pretty fun. Then you got like a couple of PvP modes and stuff like that. I don't enjoy Resident Evil 6 at all. Like I just don't. All right, we're gonna move on to 7, and people aren't gonna like this one either.
Moving on. All right, 7.
Resident Evil 7.
Your rabbit sneezing.
Now, anybody that knows me, y'all know I hate first-person perspective in any game. Like, I just never liked it. It's very disorienting to me. I like to be able to see what's around me, not what's just in front of me. That being said, I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to be completely fair about the Resident Evil 7, 8, and so forth. Resident Evil 7 to me is probably the most boring Resident Evil game I have ever played, I have ever seen. You spend 80% of the game walking through empty areas with barely any enemies. There's no zombies, there's no lickers, no hunters, no dogs, nothing. The only thing about this game that I actually like is one of the bosses, I guess you call him Daddy, I guess you call him. He's pretty entertaining to watch. Other than that, this game is more boring than Sunday School, but I'm gonna be fair. It's not the worst Resident Evil game, and it's not the best. C tier. I think that that's a fair grading for me. Controversial take. Yeah, I mean, I this was the only Resident Evil, and I'm not kidding when I say this. This is the only Resident Evil game that I played where I fell asleep while playing it.
Really?
I'm
Fell
being
asleep while playing it, really?
I'm being dead serious. Like, I'm like, yo, this nothing to do here. Like, what the hell am I doing? You know, and it's like, I mean, I just don't I don't like it. Plus, I don't like Ethan either. That guy's just a bland protagonist that they just put in there. I don't care for that game at all, to be honest. It's better than 5 though.
Yeah.
But then again, a ham sandwich is better than 5.
I don't know. Okay, like I would put it maybe in like a B. Maybe a B plus. And the only like okay, so yeah, like everyone in chat is saying is like, yeah, there's like no enemy. There's like no enemy variety. And I don't like that. It's repetitive. Once you get to the boat section, it's so repetitive. There's no actual final boss fight. Like the final boss fight is completely scripted, which is really annoying. Even on Madhouse, like Madhouse was fun, but it also didn't have it had unskippable cutscenes, which was annoying. Unskippable cutscenes, like no, thank you. It's like a B plus, but it did like reintroduce Resident Evil for like a lot of new people. But I just hope that they're now that they're done with 8, I really hope Resident Evil 9 goes back to like actual zombies.
That's true.
Like I want Resident Evil 9 to go back to actual zombies, please.
That is true. I mean, 7 is not that bad. It's not a bad game. It does look good. It's just boring to me. There's no other way for me to put it.
Good DLCs.
You know how
It did have good DLCs.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, 7 had good DLCs though. Sorry, I forgot how good the DLCs were. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel about Resident Evil, and this another controversial take, but that's the name of the show, Hot Takes, folks.
Yes.
Alien Isolation. I think that game is absolutely boring. Like, I'm sorry, like just nothing to do.
It is.
Just nothing to do.
Is.
And I'm like, oh my God, you're just waiting for something to happen. Like, man, somebody throw a cheese sandwich at me or something. Give me something.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. God. It is boring. It is boring. It is very boring. It's a lot of waiting around.
I held on.
Outlast is boring too. Bad Investor's like, excuse me. It's like, okay, but like Ken and I we're not really afraid of things, and we don't really like jump scare, and we don't, you know what I mean? Like so I can see, like, if you're afraid or like if you get stressed out by those kinds of games, it's very fun. But like to me, it was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, the fear is part of me. Like once you get rid of that part, that's my hot take.
Yeah, I mean,
just
it's
like my opinion.
It's like, you know, like I said, like the only reason why I hang around there is because Kelsey is that entertaining that I can stomach a boring ass game.
Thank you.
And just listen to the commentary. So, but yeah, I don't know, just
the hardcore horror games. Yeah, I do.
Just dropping somebody in an empty area and making it dark does not make it a good horror game. You got to have something to do. I mean, you got to have something to do. Anyways, though, moving on to Resident Evil 8 or Village or whatever you want to call it. Is it Resident Evil 8 or is it Resident Evil Village? Which one is it?
It is 8 and Village.
Yep, let's move on to that one. Resident Evil 8 Village. Same thing. You know, I like Lady Dimitrescu. I think that she's very entertaining to watch. I don't like Ethan Winters. I think he's one of the most boring protagonists in the Resident Evil series. I think that they try to do two different things with him. They try to make him the common man, and then they try to make him a badass, and it doesn't appeal to any group. He's just there. There's nothing memorable about this guy. Again, it's another first-person Resident Evil game. I know that they tacked on a third-person option, I believe, in this game, but it doesn't feel right at all. This game was made to be first-person. The third-person view, it's just very disorienting. This game feels like a DLC of Resident Evil 4. That's what it feels like. You know, you're in the village and stuff, dealing with infected humans. It just feels very like copied and paste to me, so to speak. That being said, again, I'm gonna be fair, C tier, because again, it's not as bad as the Resident Evil 3 remake. It's not as bad as Resident Evil 6. Damn sure ain't as bad as Resident Evil 5. So I can't bring myself to put it down below C, because at least you can play the game. At least it's playable, and it's not that boring. You know what I mean? Resident Evil. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, okay, especially like Resident Evil 8 is just, it's like a fancy. Resident Evil 8 is like a fancy Resident Evil 4. Like, I fully believe that Resident Evil 8 was Capcom attempting to test out the Reach engine for Resident Evil 4. I fully believe that. It's pretty much the same, but yeah, I also don't like the type of horror it's based off of. It's just, yeah, it's not Resident Evil. It's not Resident Evil. Yeah, Ethan's boring. It's just like, yeah, I didn't like it.
And
it's pretty though.
What they did with the Giga Chad though, like what they did with Chris, I was like, come on, man. I'm like, this guy is one of the main protagonists. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I know. Right?
That's one of the reasons why I hate the Resident Evil live action movies, because all of the main characters, the main protagonists, are side characters to a made up character, Alice. How are you gonna bring in now? See, I gotta go off again, man. How are you gonna bring in Jill Valentine in the second Resident Evil movie, and she's a side character? This woman was in the very first Resident Evil. Who in the blue icy hell is Alice? They literally just made her up out of thin air. She's not in any Resident Evils. And you're gonna make Jill and Claire and Chris, the Giga Chad, you're gonna make them side characters? Yeah. Like, come on, man. Those movies are garbage. Straight up ass. Grade A ass. If you want to watch the Resident Evil, good Resident Evil movies, watch the CGI movies.
I haven't watched them. Are they good? You're saying they're good?
Oh, they're really good. Because the first one has Leon and Claire, so it's more like Resident Evil 2, the Resident Evil 2 story, but different elements. They got one that's with Leon and Chris. And then the last one that came out, I think it's Death Island. That has Jill, Leon, Chris, and it has like a whole bunch of Resident Evil protagonists in there. But yeah.
Okay.
In the side rant, I'm sorry. Resident Evil 8 just didn't appeal to me at all. Like I'm like, it's just kind of there. You know, it's kind of like when you go to the supermarket and you see that one bag of chips that nobody ever buys. It's just kind of sitting there.
Nobody ever buys.
Yeah, it's like we got sour cream chips here, but we also got these plain chips over here that nobody ever buys, and it tastes like shoe polish. It's like that bag of chips is like, please buy me, sir. Please buy me. Take me home. That's Resident Evil 8. Don't nobody like that game. Anyways, though.
Not even
Any
any chips at that point. It's just dust.
Yeah, just poor chips and those candy bars that nobody buys, that nobody's ever heard of, like that Tabasco chocolate candy bar.
Tabasco chocolate. That kind of sounds good, though. I'd try that.
Ew.
No, you.
You would eat that?
Okay, well, whatever. I'd try it. Yeah, I'd try it. I'd absolutely try that. Spicy chocolate. Have you ever had spicy cheese? I love spicy cheese.
Yeah, I love
spicy chocolate. Has to be good.
I love pepper jack. Pepper jack is my favorite cheese.
Ooh, pepper jack's so good. Pepper jack is so good.
Pepper jack is the best. All right, let's move on here.
Jalapeno cheese. All right, what's next? Let's
but
go.
Real quick, shout out to chat. Thank you to everybody that joined in. You guys are making this very fun.
Oh yeah.
Very fun for us.
Appreciate you guys being here. Yes.
Yes. And I know Bad Investor is like, okay, if there was a thumbs down button, I would hit thumbs down because he said that Alien Isolation is boring. It's like, get this guy off Twitch.
Get this guy out of here. Get him out of here.
It's like, this guy doesn't know anything about games. No, I'm just playing. All right, let's move on. Evil Survivor. This is an on-rail first-person shooter for the PlayStation. I don't like this game at all. Like, if you have like a couple of minutes to spare, then play this game if you just want to kill some time. It's not anything that has any replayable value. The one thing that I hate about it is that you have infinite ammo, and anybody that knows me, I don't play with infinite ammo whatsoever, period. So I don't really like this game at all. D tier. Resident Evil Dead Aim. Yeah, Resident Evil Survivor, that's back on the PlayStation. Like, it was literally an on-rail Resident Evil game. Like, it was an on-rail shooter.
I never played that one.
Yeah.
What was that one about?
That came out, I don't even, that game was so bland. I don't even know what the character's name was. But if you like all the cheesiness of, like, the first Resident Evil, you'd probably like it.
Well, I do.
I mean, the voice
acting. All right, well, I do.
The voice acting is horrendous. It's horrendous. And it's
all
like,
right, I might. Maybe.
There's two of them. There's Survivor 1 and 2. And I think it came out after 3. After Resident Evil 3 came out for the PlayStation. And they're both on rail. Okay. And you just go through it. The first Survivor takes you through the events of Resident Evil 2 as a different person.
Oh, I've seen it. Is it first person?
Yeah, it's on rail first person shooter.
Yeah, okay, I've seen it. I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah. And then there's another one. Isn't there I'm sure you'll get to it.
Yeah, Dead Aim is the next one I'm going for. That's the other one.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Same thing. It's another on-rail first-person shooter. I know people who like the Left 4 Dead series. You guys would probably find this game to be awesome. I don't really care for games like that. I don't really like it at all. D tier. I think that's fair. Dead Aim. I mean, nobody's ever really heard of that, to be honest.
No. Like, I know the names of these games, but I've never played them.
Resident Evil Dead Aim was that was the PS2 era that came out, but that just goes to show because Operation Raccoon City was not the first spin-off Resident Evil game that they made. They had plenty. You just have to go all the way back,
Yeah, they have a lot. Yeah, they had a lot. They had a lot, actually. A ton of spin-off games.
And a lot of them were absolutely god-awful. It is what it is. Stick to what you know, Capcom.
Exactly.
Resident Evil Revelations. I remember playing this game for the Nintendo 3DS. In fact, this was one of the only reasons why I bought the 3DS. This and Mercenaries 3D. Capcom actually went back and they listened to a lot of the fan base that said, look, cut this action crap out and bring back the elements that made Resident Evil enjoyable. And that's what they did with Resident Evil Revelations. I had a lot of fun playing this. I enjoyed this game. However, I'm going to put it in B tier because what knocks it down from going any higher is some of the characters that they put in this game. Parker, who teams up with Jill, I don't like this guy at all. He's just really slow, really plotting. His backstory doesn't really add anything to the game itself, but it pales in comparison to Jessica, who they put with Chris. Jessica is one of the most annoying Resident Evil game characters ever made, next to Steve. Steve is he still holds the crown to that. But Jessica is Ada without all of the charm. Like, she tries way too hard to be sexy, and it feels like they just put her there just so that Chris can have a beautiful, sexy partner there. But she literally has nothing, no personality. She's just there. And then you get forced to play as these two goofy characters in a couple of chapters as well too. Not really my cup of tea, but if you can get past all of that, Resident Evil Revelations 1 is a great game. I enjoy raid mode. That's a lot of fun as well too. Have you played Resident Evil Revelations?
No, but I have seen it been played, and I don't know if I want to play it, but it's just kind of putting like the mainline cast with like spin-off one-time characters, which like they pretty much get like everyone, there's always one-time spin-off character in every game, but like it got old at that point, and that's why I didn't like it. Like it was just kind of like, okay, we're so far and away from actual Resident Evil.
That's true. And people have to keep in mind that Resident Evil Revelations was made for a handheld. It was made for the Nintendo 3DS first, and then they ended up porting it to the other console. So if you go into the game, if you go into that knowing that knowledge, it's like, okay, well, it's a handheld game.
Yeah, but that's such a bad thing to port, in my opinion.
Hey, but you know what? Resident Evil Revelations is what really brought Resident Evil back from the dead. Because
wasn't that them trying to revive it?
Yeah, they tried, because
killed it.
Because 6 only sold half of the amount of money that they wanted on it, and the Resident Evil series was like, it was damn near dead. So when they did Revelations, that actually revived the series, and then they just went from there. You know, so I have a fondness for that game because it was a lot of fun. Because Nintendo, up to that point, like, I have a love-hate relationship with Nintendo. Like, I loved the original Nintendo, played it all the time as a kid. Super Nintendo. Once I got to the 64, and the 64 is a good console, but the problem, the two reasons that I held on to it as long as I did is because my father said, and you better take care of this system because I spent a lot of money on this, boy. That's one. And two, I was holding out for them to blow me away with the survival horror game or a new Metroid game, which we got neither. So once I got a taste of the PlayStation, my 64 just
you didn't go back.
Yeah, I didn't go back.
I didn't really either. I mean, that is that way when I got a computer as a kid. I'm like, no, not going back.
That's true. And it's like with me, like when it comes to Nintendo, like I'm selective with that. I bought the GameCube specifically to play the Resident Evil remake, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 4, because a lot of people don't know when those games first came out, they were exclusively for that console.
Oh, they were GameCube exclusives? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 was exclusively for the GameCube first, and then they ported it, and that's when they added, like Ada's campaign and stuff in it, because the GameCube version, there's a lot of stuff missing from it that's not in the other versions. So, and I also got it to play Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, which is a remake of the one from PlayStation. Y'all gotta go play that.
Oh, that's sick.
Y'all gotta go play that because it's only on the GameCube. And it sucks that they never ported it. And then, I skipped over the Wii because I hated Nintendo Wii. I hated it.
Yeah, I never did. I never had a Wii either.
Yeah, I didn't want to play no Cooking Mama. I didn't want to do no Just Dance or any of that stuff. I'm like, give me a gun and let me shoot some zombies, man.
Yeah, yeah. And even the games that like you could do that came out for Wii like weren't
Yeah,
they weren't games.
Resident Evil 4 that came out for that system, man. I was like, okay, they got Resident Evil 4, but by the time they got it, I had already beaten it. On the GameCube,
Yeah.
I had already beaten it on PS2. And I'm like, why am I going to play this with a green circle floating around all over the place?
Yeah. Still,
Yeah.
that sounds obnoxious.
The
So
Wii U, I'm not
obnoxious.
going to take too long in, and I'm sorry if I'm going a little too long.
Oh, you're good.
I skipped the Wii U as well, too, because the Wii U had Revelations 1, but again, I had already beaten it by that point.
Yeah.
And then when the Switch came out, and I'm like, okay. You know, when they started putting on more stuff for the survival horror fans, I'm like, okay, let me check this out. I do like the Switch, but that's for the next episode. We'll get into that next time.
Yeah, that's next time.
Because
we'll be getting into that next time.
I got a lot to say about Nintendo, and they need to stop. They need to stop being the Apple of video games.
We're getting into Nintendo next time.
Yes, ma'am. I got notes for days.
Oh, I'm ready for that.
If she wants to make this reoccurrence, I know we can't do it every week.
Oh yeah.
But
I can do it every 2 weeks. I think I can do it every 2 weeks. We can do this.
Hey, I can do that.
Or whatever works.
Hey.
I can do that. This is fun.
Every 2 weeks.
I got things to say.
Every 2 weeks is fine for me, but I definitely got notes for the second episode and third.
Oh, perfect.
So I've been writing.
Perfect. All right, we're ready. All right, perfect.
All right, let's continue on here. I hope everybody's enjoying the show. Sit back, grab a glass of water or beer or green tea or whatever it is that the hell that you guys drink. Grab a McFlurry from McDonald's and just chill.
McFlurry. Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah,
just chill out.
With the M&Ms in it, man. Whew. All right.
Ooh.
Yeah, the M&Ms. Anyways, let's move on. Resident Evil 2 Revelations. I love the fact that they brought back Claire and they introduced Barry's daughter, Moira. I think that she's a cool character. And the backstory of her relationship with Barry, her father, and the fact that they brought back Barry, because Barry's one of my favorite Resident Evil characters. And I'm like, why don't they bring back Barry? I think he deserves more than to be stuck in Mercenaries mode in Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil Gaiden. Oh boy, we will get there. But I enjoyed this game. I had a lot of fun playing through it. My only knock on this game is Alex Wesker, which is Wesker's sister. I think that she's one of the worst end bosses that's in the Resident Evil series. The design looks kind of cheesy to me. She doesn't really pose a threat when you're playing through it. And I just feel like she was just thrown in there. Like there was no mention at all ever that Wesker had a sister until this game. And I don't really like her. But that being said, I'm going to drop this in the B tier, along with the original Resident Evil Revelations 1. Very fun games to play. I play them when I come across them. So I think that that's fair. Revelations 2, you haven't played that one either, have you?
No, I haven't, but really, now we have Wesker's sister?
Yeah.
What do we have next? Wesker's mother? His grandmother?
If he didn't kill her. You know how Wesker is. But,
yeah.
Like, I mean, Resident Evil Revelations, it's great, because that came out on the consoles. So it came out, PS3, I think it was. And was it PS3? Yeah, PS3 and the Xbox 360, and it also had a port for the PS Vita. So I had a lot of fun playing that. Like I said, Moira was introduced into the game, but this was what Resident Evil 0 should have done. It's actual 2 players. So it's like somebody can join in and pick up as Moira, but the problem with Moira is she doesn't use guns. She uses melee weapons like a crowbar. She gets like a sword because she's afraid to use guns because
that's all right, I guess.
Well, there's a backstory to that. I don't want to give too much away till you play it, but she accidentally shot her little sister. so that's why she doesn't want to pick up guns. And
Oh.
her and Barry are at each other's throats because they pretty much blame each other for what happened. So she hates her father at that point. And then Barry gets he gets a little girl, Natalia, in his playthrough, and she's got like all these psychic abilities, like she can see the enemies.
Psychic.
Yeah, she can see the enemies through the
Psychic.
walls and stuff, so you could switch to her and you could point out where the enemies are, the invisible enemies and stuff, and then switch back to Barry
that's
and go
kinda
take them
neat.
out. Yeah, it's a great game. I like it. All right,
That's
let's
pretty neat.
yeah, you gotta at least try Revelations 1 and 2 at least once.
Yeah.
And then
All right.
then you can swear it off after that. All right, let's move on. Now we're getting into spin-off territory. Like, all of these games are the spin-offs that nobody really knows or cares about, but I'm gonna go through it anyways. Resident Evil Mercenaries 3D. This was the other game that I had on the Nintendo 3DS. If you guys love the Mercenaries from Resident Evil 4 and from Resident Evil 5, then you guys will enjoy this game because that's literally what it is. It's a Resident Evil game that's just mercenaries. You play as Rebecca, you play as Chris, you play as Sheva, Jill, etc., etc. It's a lot of fun to play when you're just killing time, when you're doing a commute on a train, or you're sitting at work on break or something. A lot of fun to play. Now, I made a mistake on that one. Sheva is not in that game. I was thinking about Resident Evil 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking about Resident Evil 5.
Resident Evil 5 just lives in your mind.
Yeah. You know, I hate that game so much, I actually curse at it in my dreams.
Curse that in your dreams. Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude.
It's in my psyche. B tier. Dark Side Chronicles. I believe that this game was for the Nintendo Wii. I like the fact that they took us through some of the Resident Evil games again and they added to it. My only knock on this game is that it's first person. It's another first person Resident Evil game, on rail shooter. And for people who love that type of thing, this will be great for you. I didn't really like it that much at all. It was cool to see Resident Evil 2 again from a different perspective, but I don't really care for it too much. So I'm gonna drop it in the C tier. Yeah, if you don't, I think they put it on the Wii U as well too, and they did put it in the compilations, but yeah, Dark Side Chronicles was an on-rail shooter, and you got Dark Side Chronicles 1 and 2. And it, like I said, takes you through Resident Evil 2 in the imaginary stuff, but from a first-person perspective, which you might like that.
That sounds all right.
Yeah, I mean
That sounds all right.
yes, it's a beautiful looking
Okay.
game. It's a beautiful looking
Oh, it
game,
is it?
but
That's not bad.
it's made for the Wii, so you have to use the motion controllers and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I want that in a Resident Evil game.
But they did port it over. I think the Switch, does the Switch have it? I don't know, because it's been a while since I checked on games on the Switch, because the last one I played was Metroid Dread. And then I don't have my Switch anymore. Anyways, let's move on. Okay. Resident Evil Outbreak. I'm gonna go Outbreak first. These two games for the PS2. These two games were the first Resident Evil games where you can play as multiple characters besides Zero. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where you can play online. 4 players
Yeah.
on the PS2. That was crazy. And I had a lot of fun playing this game. My only knock was, if you're playing alone, the AI is pretty stupid. Like, while you're trying to go through doors and do what you got to do to get items, they're running off on their own, and they don't stick with you. And it's kind of all over the place. If they had done this game over again today with better graphics and better AI, it would have been a epic game to play. That being said, I'm gonna put it in the C tier, both of them. They're fun games to play when you come across them. Check them out if you ever get a chance to. What do you think?
Oh, I wish they would either remake or port Outbreak.
I
You're
think
right
that
though, it's not fun alone. It's not as fun alone, but like with people, oh, Outbreak is so good. It was so ahead of its time though. Way ahead of its time.
yes, it's crazy the fact that PS2 was doing that online stuff even then.
Oh, I know. I had Final Fantasy 10? I think like the MMO for Final Fantasy, like that was crazy too on the PlayStation. Hooking it up to the internet felt like a god.
Yeah, the PS2 was such a great system, man. Like
Oh, it was.
I had so
Still
many
my favorite.
I had so many great games on there. I had Onimusha 1 through 3, and then Dawn of Dreams, the Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid, Snake Eater. The list goes on. The Devil May Cry games, just epic games, man. Just
Yeah, it and for survival horror, it was absolutely the best.
yeah. Wasn't
Like it was the absolute best.
what was that one that Capcom made that a lot of people don't? They should go and play it, but they don't really know about it. What's
It
that
was the
one?
golden age.
What's with that Haunting Grounds?
Oh yeah, I didn't mind that game.
That
A little
game is pretty
repetitive
cool.
at times.
I
I liked it.
I enjoyed
Fun.
it. The PS2 had a lot of great games, man. Like
It did. So many good games.
yeah, but yeah. If you never played I lost my train of thought. Resident Evil Outbreak. You guys got to try it. If you guys never played it, try it at least once. It's a great concept, and if only they did.
It is. I agree.
They need
Play
to
it.
remake it or re-release it. Even if they just re-release it and scale it up, that would be great. Like they did with the Tomb Raider collection, TR1, 2, and 3. You could scale up the game and just re-release it and have some new servers. I'd play it. Anyways,
too.
moving on. Resident Evil Deadly Silence. This was for the Nintendo DS. This was the Resident Evil 1 that we have up here, but they added more to it. They actually added a mercenaries mode to it, which is pretty cool. They added some new weapons, a little bit more that the original Resident Evil game did not have. I had a lot of fun playing it. I'm gonna drop it in the B tier. Yeah, that was for the Nintendo DS. They actually re-released the original Resident Evil, but they added, like I said, extra things like he set up there, like past Casey said. You have a mercenaries mode, more weapons. I think you could play as Wesker in there. In that one,
Of course, you can play as Wesker.
Of course. And it's awesome. I mean, it's very rare to find. Like trying to find that game now is almost impossible. Like I mean, it's pretty rare.
Impressive.
Who follow me? Let me see here. Sorry, I can't really see it because you got Kelsey's face in front of that.
Sorry.
It's
My
all
bad.
good. I'll figure out everything here. Anyways, though,
Yeah, we will.
But yeah, you're not gonna go out of your way to find a Nintendo DS to play this game, so I'm not even gonna really ask what you think about it.
No.
Yeah, it's just Resident Evil with more bells and whistles on it.
Of course.
Let's move on here. I think that's cool. If you ever have a DS, track this game down and play it. Resident Evil Operations Raccoon City. This game is kind of like Outbreak, but it kind of expands. It takes Hunk and he has his own team, and it shows you what he's doing, what they're doing during the Resident Evil 2 and 3 scenarios, which is pretty cool. However, this game is buggy as all hell. The characters have no personality. Like they have there's just nothing about this game that just wows me. You know what I mean? It's just not that good of a game. It's not as bad as 5, but I'm still gonna drop it in the F tier because they could have did more with this game and they chose not to. Yeah, I'm gonna add to that. Operation Raccoon City was just it was fucking bad, man. Excuse my language. It was just a bad
I've
game.
seen it. Yeah, that's a far spin-off.
They could have done more with that. I just feel like they didn't even try with that. It's like, hey, let's just take Hunk because he's a popular character and we'll put a team of nobodies with him that nobody knows or remembers. And it's just the controls are horrible. It's glitchy as all hell, and they never fixed it.
Oh, that sucks.
They never patched it.
Yeah.
And the hit detection is horrible. You swear there was a lot of times where you swear you hit the enemy, and it goes through them, it goes above them, it goes below them. And when you're fighting,
bad hit detection.
And when you're fighting lickers, that's the worst thing that can happen.
There's lickers in it, really?
Yeah, there's lickers. There's Nemesis in it. Like, you got to fight him. And he takes out. Yeah. Like, it would have been cool, like, if they had patched it up and they really went in and fixed all the problems, it wouldn't be so bad. I probably would have put it, like, in B or C. But they just released it as is. Never patched it. And I'm like, there are some people that actually like it. And I'm like, have you been hit in the head? And then you have
been hit in the head.
You have 2 options though. Like, you have 2 options.
The
like
OG Resident Evil movies. Ken said he wasn't a fan of the OG ones, right?
Yeah, I love the CGI ones. I like the CGI Resident Evil movies. I hate the live action ones.
CGI, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hate the live action ones. Those are garbage.
I'm blind. Go ahead.
Those are absolute booty juice garbage. Do not watch the live action Resident Evil movies. If you're wondering why Mila is still in these movies and they made up a character out of thin air, it's because guess who's her husband? The director.
Director, oh, I know. Puts her in everything.
I'm totally gonna catch a lot of flack from that. But welcome to the world of Mr. Kennedy.
Welcome to the world. Yep.
But here we go. Let's go on. We got a few more left. They never did fix it, so it's basically unplayable. Garbage game. Resident Evil Gaiden. This is for the Game Boy Color. This is the game that Barry got. Now, I'm going to be completely fair with this because it's Game Boy Color. Game Boy Color was a great system, but it didn't have the type of graphical power that any of the other systems had. How could it? That being said, the story was decent, but this is the type of game that just doesn't translate well to the Game Boy Color. I think that if it had come along during the DS era or the 3DS era, it would have been much better. It's not that good of a game. I'm gonna drop it in D tier. Yeah, I think I was fair with that one because it's Game Boy Color. Yeah, I don't know what people.
Not much you can do with it.
Yeah, I don't know what people was expecting with that. Like, the Game Boy Color has great games, but not something I will put Resident Evil on.
No, it's too ambitious.
Yeah, and they put Barry in that, and I'm like, this is what they gave Barry.
This is what Barry got. No,
like they could have given that game to Steve, and it would have been the most forgettable game in the series because nobody would play it.
No.
I bet, yeah, we just skip over that. But yeah, I did play it as a kid because when, think of how old we were back then.
Yeah.
We didn't have the graphical stuff.
A game.
Yeah.
Now, a game's a game.
To be fair, they did release Metal Gear Ghost Babel on there, and that was a great game on the Game Boy Color. But yeah,
quite a few.
It just wasn't a good game. E-verse F. I don't know what the hell happened with this game. They had a good concept, but it just didn't work. It just did not work. The servers are crap. The graphics aren't that good. And it's the same for RE Resistance and Umbrella Corps. All Fs. And I'm going to talk about all three of them at the same time. Resistance is what they gave us in the Resident Evil 3 remake instead of giving us mercenaries. Remember the mercenaries mode with Carlos, Nikolai, and Mikhail? This is what they gave us, and it could have worked if they actually tried to work on it instead of just tacking it on. It's a 1v4 online game that could have worked. It had the Resident Evil 2 engine graphics, the remake graphics. And it looks great, but you can't find a game to save your life. The servers are trash. And when you can't play online, there's nothing to do. I don't know what they were thinking with that. Umbrella Corps is absolutely trash. I don't know what the hell this game even was. I don't even know what they were thinking when they came out with that. I mean, they didn't even hype it up. They knew this game was bad. The graphics look like shit. There's just nothing about this game at all that's any good. Do not play these games. I mean, if you're curious, to each his own, these games are crap. Yeah, absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. They didn't even try with that. Like, I remember when the Resident Evil 3 remake came out and they first introduced that. Even then, I couldn't get in the game. I could not get in the game to save my life. So all they had was a practice mode where you just...
They still have it up, and I'm pretty sure less than like 100 people play them at this point per month. I remember seeing something like that.
It's trash. It's trash. I don't know.
Is.
I'm like,
Yes.
they could have taken that same time to add DLC.
Call of Resi Duty. Yeah.
Call of Resi Duty. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
They could have taken the same energy and made some DLC for that game to put more to that game, but they just gave us that and that was it.
Yep.
And
then they just didn't care about it anymore.
No, they didn't.
They didn't care anymore.
Servers were absolute trash. I'm like, they just put
more. They didn't care anymore.
And that goes back to the how they did with the Call of Duty stuff. Like back then when everybody wanted to be the next Call of Duty, everybody had to have multiplayer. And it was
and they wanted to be the next Dead by Daylight, and it didn't work.
No, it didn't. So. But it's a shame what happened to Friday the 13th because that game is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Dead by Daylight is kind of toxic, I've heard, though.
Yeah, you have people that kind of hack the game and stuff, and you got people...
Yeah.
Yeah. But just those are online-only Resident Evil games, and, I never really liked online-only games.
No.
To begin with. We got one more left. An on-rail shooter. Hold on, let me go back. Vaguely remember which one this one is. It's... I think that this... Yeah, okay, this came out for the Wii as well, too. This is the same thing as Dark Side Chronicles, where they took you through parts of Resident Evil, but I already talked about that one. It's Dark Side Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
That one takes you through the events of Resident Evil 3, but in first-person perspective.
Oh, so they did that for every Resident Evil, eh?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was on rail. Like I said, you like the Left 4 Dead stuff, so I figured that you would like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I'll check those ones out.
And that is my that's my Resident Evil tier list. I had a lot of fun making
excellent. That. Yeah, I like that. I liked your tier list. I remember seeing it when it came out.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun making that. We're gonna remove that, and
I need to make a Silent Hill tier list.
Yo, I would definitely check that out because you know what? I haven't played every single Silent Hill. I've only played two out of the
all right,
3.
I could make a tier list. I could do a tier list for next time.
Yeah, definitely.
Just make a segue from Nintendo.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out because I've only played Silent Hill 3, and then I played Silent Hill Shattered Memories for the PSP.
Oh
no, the PS Vita. And that game sucks.
I haven't played Shattered Memories and the other one that's awful we don't talk about. I think Shattered Memories is the only one I haven't played.
I'm
and then
sorry.
Book of Memories or whatever.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
Book of Memories or something.
Book of Memories is what I meant to say for
Yeah.
the PS Vita.
Yeah.
That's the dungeon
Yeah,
crawler.
fuck that game.
Yeah, that's the dungeon crawler Silent Hill. That just sucks.
Yeah, no thanks.
You know.
No thanks.
But yeah, I mean, it's fun to go back through that video. Now everybody knows what my tier list is, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of curses and comments and stuff.
Oh no, you'll be fine.
You don't know what the hell
You'll
you
be
talking about,
fine.
man. I'm gonna boycott your channel, man. Definitely. So are you gonna be streaming any video games today, or?
I will not. Are you, Ken? Are you gonna be streaming any games?
I'm still thinking about it. I mean, tomorrow I have to help my brother move, so I don't know when I'll be on after that. But I'm still thinking I might drop an hour of the Division 2, maybe. I'm still thinking about it. Cause we did the podcast, and I was like, I might just put that in place of the stream itself. But we got
But yeah, this was great though.
Yeah, it was. We got almost 2 hours out of that content. And it was a lot of fun talking to everybody. Shout out to chat and everybody that showed up.
Yes.
And to
thank you guys for being here. This is great.
Yeah, and to everybody flipping me off on the other side of the screen. I love y'all too. And this is definitely the first episode. There will be more. Trust me when I tell you.
Yes.
How often
show pray every 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's gonna be every 2 weeks with me and Kels every 2 weeks. I'm thinking about doing a solo thing like every week, and then
do that too.
She can pop in, but I'm still trying to figure that out what that's gonna be about, because you don't need two podcasts about video games, So.
Oh yeah, but you're good. You're good.
Yeah, that's overkill. But yes, thank you to everybody that showed up. I love all of y'all. Y'all make streaming worth it, make my days good. Thank you to the illustrious Kelsey Fearless for coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Ken. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, it was a lot of fun chatting it up with you.
Impressive.
And it's definitely a lot easier when you have somebody to bounce stuff off of than when you're talking to yourself.
It does. It does.
It
absolutely does.
Because in my mind, when I'm doing solo videos, I'm always saying to myself, say something. Say something. Don't trip over your words.
Oh, right.
Don't be boring.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But
yes,
no, this is great.
Definitely. Thank you for coming on. I might be back. I don't know when, because I don't know when my brother's going to come and get me, because he's moving into his first apartment. So I will stream tomorrow. I will get on it, probably be a little late in the afternoon. If not, Wednesday morning, I'll definitely be back.
Oh, you got this.
You guys have a great day. I will see y'all later.
Thank you guys.
And you take care, Kelsey. Thank you again.
You too, Ken. You have a good one. I will see you guys later.
Later.